This video will show you some very basics on writing a letter with images in it using Microsoft Word. I write a newsletter to my family each Sunday. When I started writing these newsletters many years ago, I used Adobe InDesign. I still really like using InDesign, but when my husband reads over them before I send the newsletter out, he has a hard time figuring out how to edit it. It's also pricey to use. I decided to try and use Microsoft Word, which he is more familiar with. It took me a little while to learn to use the tools I needed. There's always more for me to learn. This video will show you some of the tools I use on Microsoft Word to help me put together my weekly newsletters. There are many different publishing tools available. I did a search and there were 10 that came up. And I know that there's a lot more than that. I've heard about Canva and heard that it's very easy to use, but I haven't ventured into using it yet. I have used Quark, but it's been a while, and it also has a learning curve, kind of like InDesign. Let's get started learning some basic tools on Microsoft Word that I use to write my newsletters. All right, I'm in Word. I've already put up some text, some fake text here. I use this lorem ipsum. You can look that up online and just copy and paste some text into there. So I want to show you. So I always learn to put the date over here on the right hand side. To do that, you just type in date, and normally it's over here, and you just, in the paragraph, you're just going to move that over here. You could put it in the center. That's how, if you have a title, you can put it there, but I usually put it over here on the right hand side. Okay, now if you need to do bullet points or numbering, you would use these up here. I don't usually use that in a newsletter, something I'm writing, but if you're writing up a story and for some reason you have a need for those, they're right up here. And if you're doing an outline form, like maybe you're typing up an outline of what you want to write, you would use this outline form up here, these multi-level. Okay, I want to show you how to put pictures in. I feel like that's one of the reasons my family likes to read the newsletters. It's not just reading text, but I put pictures in. So I just take a picture from my file and I drag it over, and I'll drag it to here. And look at what it does. It looks like it's just messed everything up. Well, I take these little points down here and I left click on the mouse and I can make it much smaller. So I make it smaller, but I want to turn it sideways. So you use this little tool right here. Just drag it over. And it is a little challenging to get it. There we go. I've got it horizontal. Okay, but still I don't like exactly where it's at. So we need to use text wrap. And you can use this right here, this layout option, or you can use the layout up here. But I usually use this little box. I click on that, and this is the one I usually use, this square. You can do this one where, I'll show you in a minute what that one does. Anyway, so I'm going to change it to there, to this square, and now I can move this picture down and it moves the text around my picture. And you notice that little green line that tells me I'm on the edge of where my text will be, my margin. Okay, let's see, what else can I show you? Oh, I wanted to show you. So let's say I wanted it to be really big and I didn't want text over here. So if I use this one right here, it doesn't put any text on either side of it. It makes it use the whole area where the image is at. Let me go back to the square, and you can play around with these different text wrap formats. Now let's say that I want more distance between, like maybe down here on the bottom. So if you right click and you go text wrap and you go to more layout options. Now it says on the bottom it's a 0, but I can increase that distance. And I'm going to say OK, and you're going to see how it's given me more area there. And if you don't like it, you can do Control Z, and that just takes that away. Now let's do that again. Text wrap, more layout options, and I'm just going to do 1, and I like that better. Okay, and then you could do it on the right, and if the picture's over on the left, you can move it over. Well, let me see. If it's over here, then I would do on the right hand side. So let's right click there, wrap text, more layout options. So I want on the right side, let's increase it a little bit more and say OK. And I like that. So that's how you get that. Okay, let me bring in another image. I'll do it on this paragraph here. Now I have this picture, and let's say I don't want to use the whole picture. I just want to use a portion of it. Then I can right click and it says crop. And then I get these little black lines here. And so let's say I just want to use this portion of my image. And then I click outside of that box, and it's got that. Now if I go back here to crop image, it brings the whole thing back, and I can expand it again if I want. But I'm going to leave it like that. And then I'm going to go in here to, I'm going to go to my little box, and I am going to do the square, and then I can put it over here. And I usually try to go back and forth from left to right or right to left for the images. And now you can make it smaller or bigger. I'll make it smaller. Okay, let me bring in another image. I have this one. This is something my son showed me recently. Now, this picture, let me make it a little smaller, and I'm going to go ahead and do the text wrap on it. This image is too dark, and I was saying something to him about it, and he said, well, just click here on the format, Mom, picture format, and then over here you can actually work with the image. And I have not used all of these different things here, but this one, correct image, I can brighten this image up. And so now that brightens my flower up. And that one's a little too bright, so I can try this one right here. And I like that better. So I can click that, and that's how it changes the image. So you can change it. Now I would suggest, like I said, I have not used all of these, but you have color, artistic, effects. Anyways, I don't know how to use all of these, but you could have fun experimenting with those. Alright, I've brought another picture over here, and I wanted to show you, if you have something in an image that you want to point out, you can go from, normally you're on the Home tab. If you go to Insert, you can say Insert a shape. And you have all these different shapes that you can choose from. So let's do an arrow. So I can just draw an arrow down to here, but I can't hardly see it, so I can make it red, and then I think I can do the weight here. Yep. And I can go to 3. Okay, and then you can move this arrow around. Let's just grab it and move it down. Or you can lengthen it, move it over here. So I want you just to know that you can use shapes and bring them in and point to something on your newsletter. Okay, now let's just talk a little bit about the text. This a lot of people already know. The pictures is the one that I kind of struggled with at first when I was using Word, trying to get them in there and figure out how to format them. But if you want to change what the text looks like. You're going to use this up here, the different fonts. And you usually have, and you can see how it's changing. So you can see the different fonts of what you might want. And there's quite a few, and you can just drag down. So here's it. Anyways, there's Arial, that's a common one used. Here's Baskerville, another common one. Okay, I was going to see if I could find, here's a script one. Here's one, Blessed Day, that's in script font. So this is kind of like cursive. If you want it to be cursive, you can change it to there. And then you can change the size to different font sizes. And if you want to change the color of the font, you would go here and you could change it according to the colors or something up here. So let's just change it to maybe a green. There we go. Okay. All right, the last thing that I want to show you is just before you finish your letter, it's a really good idea to always review it. And I click on review up here at the top. Okay, there we go. And I do a spelling and grammar check. And this is going to come up with a ton of things because it's not plain English. But you're going to say just either ignore it, or you can click on, let's say this is the word that you wanted. So you can click on that and say change that, or you could say change. So let's say I want to change this to the word, let's find another one. More, well, let's just say I want that to be more, but I can say change all of those. Maybe bandit. Okay, change it to bandit or bandits. Okay, and this one they're giving you, maybe I want it to say rises, so I can say rises, and I'd say change it to that. If I don't want that, whatever they're suggesting here, it says ignore once, so I would say ignore it, and then here change. Okay, anyways, go through this and check your spelling, and it will just make it so much better. And I am not a wonderful speller. I'm better than I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I was terrible in college. I love computers because they help me with my spelling. Anyways, this is very short, and if you really want to know more about Word and using it, I would suggest you YouTube. Somebody who's much better than I am. There's a lot more to learn. It's a very powerful tool. But I just wanted to show you a few things about putting some of the images in your text and making it a visual letter, because people really like pictures. Anyways, I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching. Okay, I forgot one other thing that I wanted to add in here. I would save my Word documents and put them in my emails as an attachment. And my family was having a hard time. It was messing up the format when they would try to open it up. Not everybody could open it up, and I don't know if it's just because we have different computers, something different with Word on each person's computers. Maybe people don't have Word. Anyways, I've learned that the best way to save it and send it is to save it as a PDF. So I wanted to show you how to do that. So I go File. Let me see, there we go, File. And if you have Adobe PDF, you can save it as an Adobe PDF. But I don't have Adobe PDF, so I say Export, and it says Create PDF. And I click that, and then I click here on this little box, Create PDF. And then you give it, I'm just going to leave it the same name that I have it, and say Publish. And it doesn't take very long, and I will bring over, that's saved it in my files as a PDF. And if you send out the PDF, I've never had a problem with it. So it popped up here on my other screen. Let me drag it over here, and it comes up, and this is now a PDF. And that way other people can't get in and change what you've written either, and I don't know if that's good or bad. If you do want to send something to somebody else so that they can add or review a letter that you're doing, you may want to send them the Word document because they cannot get into the PDF and make changes. Anyways, I had forgotten about that, and I feel like that was really important. I just had so many people said, well, I quit reading them. The pictures were all over and I couldn't see things. And so my husband says, well, try saving it as a PDF. So I hope again that this video has been helpful and it will encourage you to write some letters with adding images. Thanks for watching. Enjoy recording.